For those who cannot afford a crossover, we recommend that you take a closer look at this car. Presented by the manufacturer as a hatchback, the Dodge Caliber is not only available upon purchase, but also does not require large operating costs. To be honest, the modesty of the Chrysler Corporation, which includes the Dodge brand, which positions the Caliber as a 5-door hatchback, is not entirely clear. In their place, many automakers would proudly call such a model nothing more than a crossover. After all, the car has a high body, off-road clearance of 195 mm, and even has an all-wheel drive transmission, though only for European versions with a 2.4-liter engine. At the same time, the Dodge Caliber costs like an ordinary small car. It is not surprising that domestic dealers sold the car with a bang. They offered a car with 3 petrol engines of 1.8 liters, 150 horsepower, 2.0 liters, 156 horsepower, and 2.4 liters, 174 horsepower. Modifications with a 2-liter turbo diesel, 140 horsepower, were usually brought from Europe. Only a manual gearbox was combined with a 1.8-liter engine, and only a variator was intended for the rest of the engines. Interestingly, there are quite a few specimens from America on our market. The crisis that erupted in 2008 put an end to the importation of Calibers, the production of which began in 2006 and continued until 2012, from overseas. In addition, official dealers have shown high activity in the supply of these cars to us. Salon Caliber is cramped, although from the outside, looking at the dimensions, this is difficult to imagine. The quality and finishing materials do not differ, and crickets in the cabin are normal. But Dodge's equipment is generous by the standards of a golf class. The standard version already has 4 airbags, air conditioning, power windows and mirrors, as well as a CD radio with 4 speakers. The SXD version is complemented by cruise control, fog lights, a 6-disc CD changer and Boston acoustics. Caliber can be called reliable. Of course, minor electrical glitches happen, the load-bearing body does not differ in rigidity. But all gasoline engines are unpretentious and have good maintainability. But they have one congenital ailment, sticking of the valve of the crankcase ventilation system. It is recommended to clean it at every mow. Sometimes the head gasket leaks. In mechanical boxes, the bearings of the input shaft wore out prematurely. CVTs do not tolerate long slippage in snow or mud. The steering rack rarely withstands more than 100,000 kilometers. If knocks and play are found, then it is already on the way. The Caliber front suspension will require major intervention closer to 60,000 miles. Previously, stabilizer struts and bushings, ball joints and steering tips are changed. All engines run on 92-octane gasoline. They often have problems with the EGR exhaust gas return and afterburning system. If a stain is found on the valve cover in the area of /U200B/U200 drain tube, then the crankcase ventilation system. Mechanical boxes are generally reliable. True, there have been cases of failure of the input shaft bearings. But on machines younger than 2009, this problem has become irrelevant. At first, there were often complaints from lovers of ignition about the variator, which twitched during acceleration due to rapid belt wear. The design was constantly improved, and the variator stopped braking. Front suspension with McPherson struts. The frequency of replacement of its elements depends on the quality of spare parts. It is not stable. Usually, before 100,000 kilometers, intervention in it is not required, unless they ask for a replacement of the strut, stabilizer bushings and ball joints. In the rear suspension of a multi-link designed for 60,000 kilometers, they will be asked to update the strut, and a little later, the stabilizer bushings. Shock absorbers can withstand even 100,000 kilometers, although they can leak much earlier than this term. And the silent blocks of the levers wear out, as a rule, after 130,000 kilometers. Due to the weak body, they often leave, but the camber angles remain within tolerance. The body does not differ in torsional rigidity, it starts to play when driving through large bumps or on country roads with changing terrain. But it resists corrosion well. It is only on the oldest machines that the chips begin to bloom. Electrical equipment presents unpleasant surprises. Light bulbs burn out, failures and glitches occur in the system. And this happens mainly due to the poor security of various electronic components, relays and modules. Treatment is usually not very expensive.